Welcome to my channel TM Chitra Teacher. Today I am going to teach you a realistic poem, All the World's a Stage, which has been composed by a renowned English poet as well as dramatist, that is William Shakespeare. The lines of this poem has been taken from one of the Shakespeare's plays named As You Like It. So I have shown a picture over here. This has been taken from Act 2 of Scene 7 of the play As You Like It. So these lines in this poem has been delivered by one of the characters of this play, whose name is Jacques. So he played a sad character in this play, and he had delivered these lines in this Act 2 Scene 7 of the play As You Like It, and Jacques has used these lines as monologue. So before I explain you the poem, let us discuss the activities given in the warming up section. The first activity is talk to your friend about all the things related to 7. So for example, in the textbook they have started with 7 wonders of the world. So I have given you the things which all starts with 7, that is 7 wonders of the world I have mentioned, then 7 continents, 7 colors of the rainbow, then 7 notes of the musical scale, then 7 seas of the world. So all these things resembles 7. So I have given you the examples of the things which is out 7. You can use it for your reference. Now let's go to the next activity. Life is often compared to many things. Write down 7 things that life can be compared to and justify the comparison. So for example, the first one is already done in the textbook. That is, life is a keyboard. If you press the right keys, you have typed out a good destiny. So I have added few more examples with this. You can use this for your reference. So the next is life is a river always flowing. The third one is life is like a seed. It will never grow unless planted, nourished and nurtured. The next one is life is like an elevator with lots of ups and downs. The next one is life is like an onion. You peel off layer after layer. Sometimes it makes you weep. The next one is life is like a jigsaw puzzle. You have all the pieces, but you have to put them together correctly. The last one is life is like a jack in the box. You never know when you are going to get a box on your chin. So now we are going to do the next activity. Match the approximate ages with the stages. So they have given age group and they have mentioned some stages. I have already arranged it for you all. So birth to 2 years, we call it as the stage as babyhood or else infancy. The next stage is 3 years to 12 years, we call that as childhood. Then the age between 13 to 17 years we call as teenage or adolescence. Then the age between 18 years to about around 44 years we call it as adulthood. Then the age between 45 years to 60 years we call as middle age. Then the next is age between 45 years up to 75 or 80 years we call it as senior citizen or elderly person, we call that stage as. Then above 80 years means we call that as old age or second childhood. Now I will explain you the poem All the World's a Stage. So in this poem, the poet William Shakespeare used the imagery of acting on stage. So he decides human life into 7 ages. He has divided it into 7 ages, and he says that this world is a great stage of life and all human beings are just like actors. And these people, they play the roles of a schoolboy, then of a baby, a lover, soldier, judge, old man and a very old man. So there are many ages of man, so he has to cross all these stages in his life. So the poem draws a sad and realistic picture of human life, and the meaning that about life is temporary and the changing phases of life pass rather too quickly, because every stage of man's life passes quickly, so it's not going to be permanent. So the language is simple and the imagery the poet used is attractive. He tries to create an image for every stage in human being's life. So he shows us that man's stay in his world is quite temporary. So after performing the role allotted by God, he leaves this world. So now I'll explain you the verses of the poem. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merrily players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. So in these verses, Shakespeare describes the various stages of human life, and he says that this world is like a stage on which all human beings appear as actors. They enter the stage at their fixed times and leave it on their turn. So everyone have their own time of entering as well as exiting the stage. So one man plays 7 roles in his life. So in every age he plays a different role. So he starts his journey of life as a child. Then Shakespeare has given a realistic picture of a child. So he has mentioned how a picture of a child will appear in front of you. So he has given you through words, he has made the readers to visualize. A child is a helpless creature. At this stage he is seen crying and vomiting out milk in his mother's arms. So he drinks a large quantity of milk but does not digest it. So he seems totally helpless and dependent in this stage. So in this way he makes her clothes dirty, that is the mother or the nurse who takes care of him. So he makes their clothes dirty, and the nurse or the mother has to look after him and feed him. So completely in this stage the child is dependent on the nurse, that is the one who takes care of him. Let's see to the next lines. And then the winning schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school. So in these verses Shakespeare wants to tell us that human life is not a fixed and static thing. Static means it is not going to change. So it's not a fixed and static thing, it will change. So it is constantly growing and changing. So man becomes a schoolboy after passing through the period of childhood. So now the ages have been increased, so there is a change in the human being. So in the second stage of human life, man can seen as a complaining. So winning schoolboy means is a complaining schoolboy with a shining morning face, walking slowly but not get ready for school. So he takes time to get ready, or he tries to avoid going to school. So perhaps a change in atmosphere, or else the sicknessness, or you can see the burden of new responsibility and the strange and stern attitude of the teacher. These all things makes him to think before going to school. Then Shakespeare has drawn a beautiful picture of the schoolboy. So how he has done is, he compares it with the movements of an insect, snail. So snail is known for its slow movements. So it is creeping insect. So here in this poem, poet has mentioned the schoolboy compared with the snail. So he has used a simile and he compared directly the schoolboy with the snail. So we can imagine how the schoolboy's movement would be. So the school going boy also marches to the school like a snail. Very slowly he moves and always complains about school, then homework or the teacher. So he is not satisfied with the school and does not want to go to school. Now let us see to the next ages of man. And then the lover, signing like a furnace with the woeful ballad made to his mistress eyebrow. So now here in this stage, Shakespeare has described that man's life in a realistic manner, how realistic the man would be. So this is a third stage which starts with the man stepping into adolescence, that is he stepped into teenage. So now he is full of deep emotions and sexual passion. So he is full of energy and vigor in this stage, and man is lost in the world of his own dreams. So he runs after his mission in a wild and passionate manner. So if he aims something, he wants to achieve it. So he will be so wild and passionate in this stage. He becomes a lover and carves a sweetheart in this stage. And when he misses his dream queen, he sings a sad songs and adores her beauty. So here he has mentioned as woeful ballad in the poem. That means sad songs. He writes sad songs and he also adores the beauty of his lover. So the picture which Shakespeare has given us about the feelings, emotions and behavior of a lover is quite correct, because most of the time we would have seen many young men, they behaved in a similar manner in this stage. Now let us see to the next lines of the poem. Then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. So in these lines, the poet has given us the most realistic and accurate picture of the fourth stage of man's life. In this time, man becomes an ambitious soldier, and he is ready to undertake any adventure in order to gain honor, glory and fame, because he wants respect and he wants to become famous. So for that he is ready to do any kind of adventure and ready to take risk. So in fact, at this stage a man has all the qualities of a fit soldier. So he is at the climax of his youth and physical strength, and in this his practical life begins at this stage, and he sets high aims and makes great vows, and with his small beard he looks like a leopard. So in the poem it is mentioned as bearded like a pard, means he looks like a leopard. So power in his body forces him to accept any challenge, and he wants to surpass others, and he wants to win, and he wants to prove himself. So he carves fame, and even for temporary fame he is ready to take risk in his life, because being famous, it's not going to be permanent. Even for that too he will be taking risk, and he sets high standards and high aims, and in this stage he accepts any challenges too, and he is ready to take risk also. But during this career he is always ready to undertake adventure and take risk for money and reputation. So in the next, let us see to the next lines. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good cap on lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. So in this stage, this is in one of the important stage wherein Shakespeare has drawn a very beautiful picture of man's fifth stage of life. So in this stage a man plays his part as a wise and serious justice. He provides justice, he says wise thoughts and sayings to others, and most of the thing you can say is he has become more mature in his mind and becomes a good judge of things, and he can wisely tell right from wrong, and he can be a good person to advise others and mention what is right for them. And his belly becomes round due to eating fat cocks, and he has a beard of normal cut, and he becomes strict in dealing with routine matters because he expects everything to be there, done it on time. So the severity in his eyes shows the seriousness of the situation, and in this stage he pays full attention to the details of every matter. His conversation will be filled with proverbs and wise sayings, and he uses instances of past and present events whenever he speaks to someone, and in this way he plays a very important as well as a useful role in the society. So now let's move on to the next stage, that is the sixth one. The sixth stage shifts into the lean and slipper pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful horse well saved a world too wide for his trunk shrank and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. So now we have almost come to the close of the very end of the poem, that is the sixth stage. So in this stage the poet describes the sixth stage of human life as man appears to be an old person, and he becomes weak and thinks that he has retired from the activities of life, and he feels too weak, and he finds it difficult to walk, to speak, most of the things he finds it difficult. So the man becomes slim, and his former garments become loose to him. Former means the garments, the clothes what he used before, that becomes loose. That means he has become weak, he lost his weight. So we could find changes from the earlier stage till now. The clothes what he has used in his youth become very loose and wide his shrunk legs. So the legs would have shrunk and it looks so wide, the dresses look very loose, and his skin of his cheeks starts dangling. It will also become loose. Then he starts wearing spectacles. Then he becomes so weak that he slips and stagger when he walks. So whenever he walks somewhere, he slips and falls down, finds it difficult to handle himself. Being stable is difficult, so he needs help of someone. So his big and strong manly voice changes into a thin childish voice, and the sound of a whistle can be heard in his breath. So these two changes we can find. Childish voice he will be getting, as well as when he breathes we can hear a whistle sound. And this way he plays his role in the world, and this is almost is becoming dependent on others. Now let's see to the last stage. Last scene of all that ends the strange eventful history is second childishness and merry oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. So in this stage the poet has described the last stage of human being. The last stage is the stage of oblivion and forgetfulness. So oblivion in the sense is a state of being unaware or unconscious. He is not even conscious that what is happening around him, as well as forgetfulness. He forgets the things whatever would have happened before in the past. So in this stage he forgets and he becomes unconscious of the things what is happening around him, and it can be called extreme old age. So it is the stage of total forgetfulness and second childishness. So this stage puts an end to the eventful life of man. So whatever events he has done independently, now he becomes dependent on others. So man cannot enjoy the charms. Charms means the beauty of life. He becomes without teeth, without eyesight, without taste, then without everything. So this is once again the stage of total helplessness. So this evokes a feeling of sympathy among the people. So at this stage man's life becomes very painful and difficult. So in this poem, All the World's a Stage, Shakespeare has beautifully described the stages what a man goes through till his death. Now let's discuss the questions given at the side of the poem. The first question is, what do exits and entrances refer to? Exits refer to the death of people or their departure from this world, and entrances refer to their birth or entry into the world. So this is an extension of the metaphor, the world is a stage. The next question, why is repetition like a bubble? So repetition is like a bubble because it doesn't last for a long time and can burst at any moment. The third question is, which is the major difference noticed in the fifth and the sixth stage of life? So the major difference between stages 5 and 6 is a change in physical appearance, as man is reduced from having a belly to becoming extremely thin, and he has a changed voice as well. So now we shall move on to the English workshop. So we'll discuss the activities given over there. So read the words in given clouds, match them with what they signify. So in the textbook, so you have given an activity wherein you have matched both the clouds. So the first one is stage. Stage is compared to life. The characters are compared to roles played by human beings. Script is compared to story of life. Dialogues are compared to conversation. Entry is compared to birth, and exit is compared to death. Now let's do the next activity. Read the poem carefully and complete the following table. So here there is a table, ages of man, 7 ages has been mentioned, then the role what he plays in each age, and the qualities and the action what he performs in these ages. So it is mentioned in the table, so you can use this for your reference. Now in the next activity, write down in your own words the difference between the following stages of a man's life. So we have to write the difference between each of these stages. The second stage and fourth stage. So let's see to the difference in this. So the second stage is that of a schoolboy complaining and crying. So he goes to school early in the morning with a well scrubbed, shining face. He carries his school bag and creeps slowly like a snail, unwilling to school. So in the fourth stage, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel. Now let's see to the next two stages, third and fifth stage. We are going to find out the difference in these stages. So in the third stage is that of a lover who is breathless and sighing with passion. He sings sad songs dedicated to the beauty of his lover. So this fifth stage is that of a mature middle-aged man with a round belly. So he is stern and formal and full of wisdom. So he is full of wise sayings and gives modern examples. So next one we are going to compare, we are going to find out the difference between the first stage as well as the first and the seventh stage. So the first stage is that of an infant crying weakly and throwing up in his nurse's arms, and he is unaware of what is happening around him, and the baby is at this stage is without teeth, without vision, without taste and without anything. And the last stage of all, which ends one's eventful life, is when man becomes old and enters his second childhood. So he is again unaware of what is happening around him, and this final stage is when he is once more without teeth, without vision, without taste and without anything. So we have found the difference between these stages. Now let's move on to the next activity. Pick out lines that contain imagery, a picture created in the mind by using words. So of the following people. So imagery is a figure of speech. So through words we can create picture, we can create a visualization in the minds of people. So schoolboy has been compared here to a snail. So we know, we can imagine how a snail moves. So he has been compared here so that we can imagine and know and feel that situation. So the second stage, wherein the schoolboy, the winning schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwilling to school. So we have taken a line from the poem which matches to this. The next imagery shown here is about the soldier acts like a pard. So pard means he acts like a leopard. So here we can find, we know how the quality and how the leopard looks. So we will compare it with this soldier. So they have a supporting line has been mentioned from the poem. The next one is judge. How does a judge will be imagined? In fair round belly with good cap on line. So this shows that in this fifth stage, like how does a judge will look? So they have given the imagery with a fair round belly he will look. So the next stage is a senior citizen stage. His youthful horse well saved a world too wide. So whatever his dressings were there, the former dresses what he wore earlier, it might have changed. So this imagery shows that in the stage of senior citizen he has become weak, he lost his weight. For his shrank. This is the line which suits best from the poem. Now we have the next activity, which is, you will notice that there is no rhyme scheme in this poem. So you would have seen, so it appears similar to the poem 1.1, where the mind is without fear by Tagore, because even in that poem we don't have a rhyme scheme, but it was written in no rhythm was there, so we called that as a free verse poem. So however, Tagore's poem has no steady rhythm or meter, either it is called free verse, but Shakespeare uses lines with a steady rhythm of 5 beats in each. So we call that as, it is termed as blank verse. So no rhyme scheme, but uniformity is there in rhythm. So what we are supposed to do is we have to copy some lines from "and all the men and women merrily players" from there till "sudden and quick in quarrel," and we have to put a stress mark on each of these syllables which are stressed in the lines. For example, it is already given in your textbook, "and all." So I have underlined over here wherever we require the stressed mark. I have underlined those words for your reference. And all was stressed, then men, then women merrily players. So I'll tell you what do syllables are. So syllable means it's a unit of a spoken language which is made up of single uninterrupted sound which is formed by vowels and consonants. So for example, I can tell you there are words which of one syllable, two syllables, three syllables. I'll give you an example. The words with one syllable like ant, jump, then tree. So the sound, you can hear the sound tree, then live. So this is one syllable. I'll give you some examples of two syllables. That is, you can have examples like narrow, like narrow. This is two syllable. Then butter, butter. Then yellow, lo. So this is two syllable word. Then happy, happy. So two syllables. So syllables, it's a combination of consonant and vowel sounds. So syllable is based on sounds. So I explained you how to find out the syllables. So here we have to put the stress mark on each of these syllables stressed in the lines. So there are two types of syllables used in this poem, stressed and unstressed syllables. So you have to underline the stressed ones. So I have marked over here for your reference. So you could see here, and all. So we can, while reading, and all the men and women merrily players. So I have stressed on the words all, men, women merrily players. The next line, they have their exits and their entrances. So the words which are stressed are been underlined. So I have done it for your reference and you can go through it. Now let's move on to the next activity. Think and write on your own. So but I have given you some answers for your help. You can use this for your reference and even you can write your own ideas too. Which is the theme or central idea of this poem? What is the theme and central idea? So the theme of this poem is the the cycle of life. So it tells us how one starts out an infant, helpless and unaware of the surroundings, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. So this is the theme of this poem. So which two stages of man described by Shakespeare sound humorous, and say why? So the second and third stages are humorous. One can just imagine the schoolboy complaining and winning, creeping to school slowly with a well scrubbed and shining face. The third stage, where the lover sighs loudly and sings sad poems and songs, is also humorous. Now let's see to the next question. The last, that is seventh stage of life, sounds very sad and miserable. So how can you make old again also cheerful and happy? How can you make old age also cheerful and happy? So we can make the last stage joyful by preparing for it beforehand. So we know that most of us will reach this stage before our final exit. Hence we must maintain good health and keep good relations with our family and the people around us. So we must save enough money to get us through this stage without any stress on ourselves or others. Now let's do the next activity. This poem is entirely metaphorical. So pick out the comparisons from the poem. So metaphorical in the sense it is implied meaning. Indirectly it is compared with the things. So here world is compared to stage. Actors have been compared to men and women. Then birth and death is compared to entrances and exits. Then schoolboy is compared to snail, lover sigh is compared to a furnace, then spotted leopard is compared to soldier, then last stage is compared to second childhood. So next we are going to do with the figures of speech. We are going to pick out the some examples of figures of speech. So first is simile. So I have given you of simile. Simile is direct comparison. You could find the word like over here. So they have compared directly the boy with the snail, the lover with the furnace, his feelings with the furnace. The next one, onomatopoeia, it represents sound. So here we can find the winning schoolboy. So winning is he makes a loud noise and he complains. So that's why it has been given the sound. Then sighing like furnace, sighing is again a word which represents sound. So that's why we have chosen this for onomatopoeia. The next one is alliteration. Alliteration means the sound of words, any alphabet gets repeated. So for example, they have their exits and their entrances. The sound E has been repeated to give better poetic effect. Then you can see in the next one, his youthful host well saved a world too wide. W, the sound of the word, the alphabet W, that has been repeated. Then the next one is metaphor. Metaphor I already explained you. It's an indirect comparison. Like indirectly the poet has compared the whole poem. Most of the times the poet has used metaphor as well as simile. So all the world's a stage, world is compared to a stage. Men and women merrily players means men and women has been compared to players. Then inversion, inversion means when the statement has not been arranged. They would have reset the statement to give better poetic effect. For example, we can see with eyes, severe and beard of formal cut. So we can say with severe eyes and formal cut beard. So we can even make it in that way. So next one is transferred epithet. So transferred epithet in the sense the adjective which has been transferred to a word. So we call that as a transferred epithet. So let's see to the sentence with a woeful ballad. So woeful is an adjective. So actually woeful means it's a sad. So who is sad? The ballad is a song. That is not sad. The writer, the lover is sad. So the quality of the lover has been given to the ballad. So that's why the adjective which was there for the lover has been transferred to the ballad. So that's called as transferred epithet. So into the lean and slippered pantaloon. Here the adjective is lean and slippered. So lean and slippered, the pantaloon is not lean and slippered. Actually the old age man, he has become lean and slippered. His quality has been transferred to the pantaloon. So for this gives a better poetic effect. So that's why they have used transferred epithet. Now next we have the appreciation of the poem, and appreciation must be written in paragraph format. So I have given this for your reference. So wherever we have figures of speech, you can choose your own figures of speech, the lines which you wish to choose. Then almost you can refer to this appreciation. So the poem All the World's a Stage is by William Shakespeare. It is taken from Shakespeare's play As You Like It. It is a monologue by one of the characters in the play. The poem is written in blank verse, that is, there is no rhyme scheme, but there is a steady rhythm of 5 beats, that is, iambic pentameter in each line. There are many figures of speech like simile, alliteration, and repetition, but one that stands out is metaphor. In the lines, all the world's a stage, and all men and women are merrily players. So there is an implied comparison between two different things. So in this poem, Shakespeare compares life to a stage. So he has divided life into 7 stages. Each has its own varied qualities and features. The theme of the poem is the cycle of life. It tells us how one stands out as an infant, helpless without understanding, and ends the same way without being aware of what is happening around one. So each man has different roles to play in his life. So life is organized in a specific order in which each person lives his or her life through various phases. So the first para will be the title and the name of the poet, which has 1 mark. Then the next para is of the rhyme scheme. If you have the rhyme scheme, it's okay. If you don't have, you have to write what type of poem it is, and then we have to write the figures of speech. So the second para scores 2 marks, and the next para is of we have to mention the theme of the poem or the central idea, which will be given for 2 marks. So totally it is of 5 marks. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please click on the like button, and if you wish, you can share it with your friends, and please subscribe to this channel without fail, so that whenever I update new videos, you will get the notification.